Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the RotoBaller Radio Waiver Wire Series. I'm your host, Anthony Aniano. Happy to be with you here as we take a look at the Week 14 Waiver Wire. Take a look at some pitchers, starters, and relievers starting the week of Monday, June 28th. Don't forget to head over to rotoballer.com and check out everything we have there. The main page, premium package, expert chats, you name it, rotoballer.com, the place to be. Whether you play DFS or season long, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, MMA, esports, NASCAR, or sports betting, rotoballer.com has you covered. And sign up for any of the premium packages. Really, whether it's baseball the rest of the way or football as the season approaches, sign up for that premium package using the promo code ACES, letting them know Anthony sent you, and save yourself a little bit of money in the process. And folks, don't forget, weekly fantasy baseball is here. Love the strategy of season-long fantasy sports? Live for the short-term excitement of DFS? Then be sure to try out weekly fantasy baseball contests on Owner's Box. Head on over to rotoballer.com/box and sign up today. Our friends at Owner's Box are hooking you up. All new users get up to a $500 deposit match bonus and a free RotoBaller Radio Premium Pass valued at $99. We'll be hosting weekly free roll events on Owner's Box as well, which are free to enter with lots of awesome prizes to the winners. Head on over to rotoballer.com/box for all the details and sign up today. All right, guys. Hopefully you've already checked out. If you haven't, make sure you go back and watch the Week 14 hitter video as we talked about some hitters to add for the upcoming weeks. Now it's time to talk some pitchers. Got 4 starters, 3 relievers for you to be mindful of for the coming weeks. And first starter, let's start with them, Joe Ross of the Washington Nationals, who's been pitching exceptional of late. Again, forget about April. Look at the short term, and right now, pitching outstanding. His next start, June 29th, tough one against the Tampa Bay Rays, no doubt about that. But in his last 20 innings pitched, 22 strikeouts, pitching to a 2.25 ERA over those last 14 days with a whip of just 0.85, 2 wins on the over the last 14 days. On the season, the ERA is 4.12, so that's been dropping over the last 20 innings. 74 and a third, 73 strikeouts, sign me up, essentially a K per inning. A whip of 1.21. A number I like is that batting average against sits at only 231. He's picked up 4 wins on the season. Joe Ross has been pitching better of late. Not a great matchup coming up against Tampa, but something I could stream if needed in the coming weeks. Be mindful of him. Washington has a couple of pitchers pitching better. Joe Ross, Eric Fetty have both pitched well of late for the Nationals as they try to climb over 500. Another pitcher who's been outstanding of late, struggled early, Jake Odorizzi of the Houston Astros. Great start his next matchup, June 27th. Okay, that's Sunday. I'm taping this on Saturday. Waivers will run Monday, so let's really see how he does on the 27th against Detroit. But only 40% rostered, okay? Over the last 14, 12 strikeouts in 9 innings. That's 2 starts. He hasn't given up an earned run, an ERA of 0, and a whip of 0.33. He's pitched to some hard luck this season. Only 30 and a third innings, 35 strikeouts. The ERA is 4.75. Okay, but when you look a little deeper, he's got a whip of 1.02, and he has a batting average against of 198. He's been tough to hit, okay, as Houston continues a run here in the American League West. If you have a sub 200 batting average against, you're doing something right, and that's what Odorizzi is doing. He's more than a strikeout per 9 innings. He's pitched very, very well for the Astros. Be mindful of that. And at 40% roster, really the last time we'll be able to talk about him. Another pitcher who's pitched better of late than he has, and that's David Peterson. And I'll be the first one to admit, I had Peterson walking out of drafts back in March very late. And I gave up on him. I walked away. He had been absolutely atrocious. But as injuries have piled on in the Mets rotation, DeGrom's been in and out. Stroman had a hip injury. Okay, David Peterson has stepped up and pitched significantly better over the last 14 days. Or in those 14 days, 14 strikeouts in 16 and 2/3 innings with an ERA of 1.08. His ERA had ballooned over 5. It's down to 4.95. His whip over the last 14 days is 0.78, getting it down for the season to 1.32. Trust me, I get it. He was bad. He was real bad. His next start, June 30th against Atlanta, but has pitched significantly. He was basically pitching for his life in the Mets rotation at one point. Injuries forced them to stay with him. He realized he needed to stay, step up for the Mets. He's a former first-round pick, and he's suddenly pitching like one for the Mets. 60, and don't view him as a soft-tossing lefty. 67 strikeouts, 63 and 2/3 innings over the course of the season. So he's been accumulating strikeouts throughout. He's got his ERA under control, his whip under control. Batting average against on the season is 238 and dropping, and he's only 9% rostered on Yahoo. And finally, I mentioned him last week. I'll mention him again. That's Ross Stripling of the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, he starts Sunday, the 27th, against Baltimore. Love that matchup. Then he'll pitch later in the week. Still, even though I mentioned him last week, still only 31% rostered. And over 16 strikeouts over his last 12 and 2/3 innings. That's over the last 14 days. On the season, 65 strikeouts in 60 and a third inning. Season ERA is 4.13 and dropping over those last 12 and 2/3. It's only 2.13. Okay, whip over the last 14 days is 0.63. Pitching outstanding for the Blue Jays. He's got 2 wins on the season. The offense backs him. The bullpen's been in flux. Hopefully stabilizes soon. But Ross Stripling continue pitching well for the Blue Jays. I break it down. Odorizzi's my 1. Stripling's my 2. Ross is 3rd. And Dave Peterson is the 4th starter I look to add off the waiver wire. Now, if I'm looking for a dominant middle reliever, it's Collin McHugh of the Tampa Bay Rays, who over the last 14 days, 9 and a third innings, has picked up 2 wins. He's kind of been the second guy after the opener for the Rays, and he's just been flat out terrific. 13 strikeouts and 9 and a third, has not given up an earned run. ERA sits at 0, and his whip sits at 0.43 over the last 14. On the season, the ERA is only 2.05, and the whip is 1.04. Batting average against a measly 223. He's got 44 strikeouts. This is the number that drew me in. 44 strikeouts in 30 and 2/3 innings this year does Collin McHugh, giving him a 3-inning stint here, a 4-inning stint here out of the bullpen. Only 7% rostered because he's not a starter and he's not getting you saves. But he is keeping ratios down, your K per 9 rates up, and pitching terrific and picking up wins in the process for the Tampa Bay Rays. All right, now, 2 changes at the closer position around the league since we last spoke, so let's take a look at that. First is Cincinnati. Lucas Sims had taken a hold of the job. He now hits the injured list. So everybody looks at Cincinnati and they say, Amir Garrett, he's had 2 saves over the last 14. There's TJ Antone, who we talked about earlier this season. He was terrific. And then Brach rolls up, former Oriole, former Met, comes in and picks up the save on Thursday, June 24th. Now, what makes this so interesting is the way the Reds bullpen rolled out. It wasn't like they didn't use the other pitchers there. They used Antone. They used Garrett. It was designated for Brach to be the guy who pitched the 9th inning. Garrett pitched the 7th and got the hold. Okay? Antone pitched the 8th and got the hold. And then Brach came in and picked up the save. Shocking. It's the only save on the season, but be mindful of it on the waiver wire. Now, this Reds bullpen situation can be a committee thing. It could be a matchup situation. But either way, Brach is in the conversation for saves right now for the Cincinnati Reds. On the season, he's pitched 14 and a third innings. Okay? He's striking out 11.3 batters per 9 innings. He's striking out 30% of the batters he is facing. His ERA is 2.51. His xERA is 2.52. It's legit. He's having one of the best seasons of his career. His whip is at 1.19. Batting average against is a measly .189. He's been dominant and potentially giving you saves over the next couple of weeks for the Cincinnati Reds. The second situation, not so surprising that Hector Neris is out as the Phillies closer. Now, this is what's fascinating, right? Joe Girardi says, I can't trust Hector Neris. He's got 5 blown saves. He's out for the meanwhile in the closing role. We're going to use Archie Bradley. We're going to use Jose Alvarado. And then what happens is the Phillies play a doubleheader against the Mets on Friday. Game 2 of the doubleheader, Archie Bradley blows it, gives up a run. Game goes into extra innings. The way the game goes, Hector Neris is the only reliever left who can pitch the bottom of the 8th. So he actually gets the save after losing the closer role. I don't expect that to last. Alvarado is the next guy for the Philadelphia Phillies. Okay, 28 innings pitched, striking out 12.2 batters per 9 innings, 30.6% of the batters he has faced. His ERA is 2.57. His xERA is 3.41. Batting average against 167. Now his problem is walks. He's walking over 7 batters per 9 innings. That doesn't get out of control. He won't be able to remain in that role. But Bradley hasn't been great. Hector Neris has lost the job, so Alvarado, the former Ray, is next in line. He's already got 2 saves on the season, but keep in mind the ratios are going to be high. That whip is at 1.43, and that's all because of the walks he tends to pitch to. So be mindful of Alvarado there. But again, chasing saves at the end of June, Alvarado's in line for saves in Philadelphia, and Brach with the Cincinnati Reds. All right, everybody. As I'm choking here, I apologize. Thanks for watching the Pitcher Waiver Wire. Don't forget, stay right here on RotoBaller Radio. Check out all the great content, including the hitter video that came out as well. Sign up over at rotoballer.com for any of our premium packages. Stay smart, stay safe. We'll see you next week here. Follow me on Twitter, by the way, at Aniano Fantasy. Stay smart, stay safe. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, folks.